All right, so we got Terrifying 40k Mysteries Part 3. I didn't even know there was a Part 3 to this. Make sure you guys follow my Twitch down below. Let's go, man.
The universe of Warhammer 40k is an incredibly mysterious place, full of spooky, unsolved mysteries, great and small, some of which are so obscure that most of the community has never even heard of them. In this series, we're going to be attempting to shed some light on some of the most obscure mysteries within 40k. We're going to be talking about things like a spooky blood-red room that can suddenly appear behind any door. And it's said that anyone who crosses over its bloody threshold will go absolutely insane. An ancient artifact
The
discovered
hell?
on a dead alien world that even managed to freak out the Emperor of Mankind, and one of the most mysterious gangs of Necromunda, whose members...
Bro, they got mob gangs in Warhammer. Bro, I've seen it all. I've seen it all, bro. They got Al Pacino. They got Al Pacino and like everybody else and mobsters in suits, ready to like shoot something up. This is crazy.
May not actually be what they appear to be. And if the rumors are to be believed, the real truth of their origins is downright chilling. We're going to be getting into all that and a whole lot more. But first, a quick shout out to this video's sponsor, and then we're going to dive headfirst into the grimdark.
Okay.
Nowadays, it feels like the price of everything just keeps going up and up. But
Ooh, that's called inflation. That's called inflation. I mean, we do got a new president, so we're gonna see. We'll see if that changes anything. But man, 2020 to 2024, man, that inflation was nasty. Man, that inflation was diabolical. We're in a new year. We got a new president. I think we got like a whole new government or whatever. So we'll see how things work out, man. But man, woo.
You know what shouldn't be prohibitively expensive? Good quality earbuds. Which is
True.
why I'm such a big fan of my Raycons.
Oh, I hit it first.
Not only is their sound quality absolutely top tier, but they cost half the price of the other big brands. They're on a mission to prove that you get what you pay for is an outdated concept, as they're loaded with smart tech listening features and deliver some of the best sound quality in the game. They have 3 customizable sound profiles, as well as easy-to-use earbud tap functions, and are even water and sweat resistant. My absolute favorite thing about them is the noise isolation mode, so I can use them when I'm doing noisy chores like mowing the lawn, or if I'm working out. They also offer up to 8 hours of continuous playtime, so I feel like I barely ever even need to charge these things. When I make these lore videos, I spend the day reading tons of old rulebook PDFs, and then at night, I use my Raycons to fall asleep listening to my favorite Warhammer audiobooks. So even when I'm off the clock, I can still be learning about my favorite fictional universe. Raycon understands that in today's economy, every single purchase needs to be perfect. So you can pick up a pair of these amazing earbuds with confidence, as they offer buy now, pay later options, with initial prices being as low as $18 at checkout. They have an optional 2-year protection insurance for just a few bucks extra.
Now listen, I've never had Raycon before. Yo, Raycon, yo, shoot me an email, yo. Yo, snipe me an email, bro. I promise you, I'll be on that thing as like white on rice. I promise you. Whenever it actually came down to like Raycon or whatever, I actually never had like a pair before. But you know, if Raycon actually wants to, they wants to send a pair my way, I can definitely check them out. Give my honest review. Just throwing out an idea.
Domestic shipping, and they're so confident in their product, they even offer an easy and free return guarantee. So click on the link in the description box below, or go to buyraycon.com/weshammer to get 15% off your order.
Just throwing out ideas.
Raycon for sponsoring this video.
The final broadcast of Reign.
All right, here we go.
Foundling worlds are a series of planets that lie within the Horus expanse, a largely unexplored section of space that famously calls rogue traders to seek fortune and favor. Even though this area of space exists relatively close to the entrance to the Horus expanse, the foundling worlds would not be visited by Imperial ships until several centuries after the zone was open to exploration. Many Voidfarers describe the entire region as cursed, subject to sudden warp storms, temporal distortions, and strange stellar phenomena. Many claim nothing good will come from attempting to probe the mysteries of the foundling worlds. Human beings, however, are a curious species, so it hasn't stopped
We are.
trying. Although many of the star systems here do remain unexplored to this day.
I just feel like sometimes humans just can't mind their own damn business. Sometimes I just feel like sometimes we always gotta see what's going on. Like we always gotta see are we sure? Why don't we just go investigate? Like, bro, we're always the investigate type, and I'm gonna be honest with you. No racism or whatever included or whatever, but I'm gonna just keep it real, bro. Whenever it comes down to investigating new things and going into that deep dark room and going down that deep dark hole and going up to space and, you know, trying to go to the deep depths of the ocean to try to see, to try to discover new fish. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Man, I've never in my life ever seen a brother or a sister ever, you know, try to come up with one of those ideas. You know, and listen, shout out to all my brothers and sisters out there, you know, who are interested in those things. It's just, man, those things, that's deep. You know, like the ocean and the space and all that, bro. Man, put my feet on land. Yeah, respectfully, bro. Put my feet on land. I like the land. I like the land a lot. I'm gonna be honest with you.
There have been many attempts to establish settlements upon the planets in order to harvest their vast wealth of natural resources. Most have met with disaster or misfortune. Making a journey to the Foundling Worlds in the first place is an incredibly difficult task, even if somebody is following a previously navigated route. The warp thrashes and churns, as if trying to throw the ship onto another course, or rip it apart with a sudden onset of violent warp storms. The nature of these localized storms and all of the documented anomalies surrounding the Foundling Worlds have led many navigator houses to privately speculate that the region is being protected by some form of sentience that doesn't wish its worlds violated by human presence. The Foundling Worlds are littered with the dead carcasses of hopeful attempts to draw profit out of its stars. There are derelict space stations that have not been crewed for centuries, shattered outposts inhabited by the burnt and dried.
That look like a damn Call of Duty map. I promise that, bro. Does this not look like a Call of Duty map? This is like a Call of Duty Black Ops 3 map. I promise you.
Corpses of the dead, and feral colonies of humans who have turned from the light of the Emperor. With every failed attempt, this place's fearsome reputation continues to grow, leading most that know of this area's existence to believe any exploration attempt is ultimately cursed. As time passes, however, a new, bold generation arises and scoffs at the tales of older, more weary travelers, and without fail, they chart a course for the Foundling Worlds. Some have managed to find early success. It may be establishing an outpost, coming across a cache of untapped resources, or discovering some ancient archaeotech. These individuals, who are blinded by their own success, are often wholly unprepared for when the malignancy of the Foundling Worlds finally makes itself known. Now, perhaps the strangest of these planets was the colony world of Rain, a world of wet grasslands and high plateaus. It was colonized in the late 8th century of the 41st millennium by a number of different rogue traders who set up bioaugury and prospecting colonies. They didn't take much interest in the ecology of the planet. Its flora and fauna were inedible, irremarkable, and ultimately harmless. They didn't find much in the way of resources either beneath the loamy earth of the planet. Strangely enough, however, those prospecting colonies would send some pretty weird astropathic reports that spoke of structures they found in the dense forested areas of the planet. But they didn't give any further information about them, only that the rain made really strange noises whenever it fell in the structure's vicinity. Despite the seeming normality of these early reports,
Bro, are these all Call of Duty damn maps? Yo, what? Yo, I swear, bro. Now, Call of Duty isn't my favorite game or whatever, but like, you know, obviously, bro, I played Call of Duty since I was like, bro, what, like 9 years old. So I've been playing Call of Duty like for technically like a long time. Does these not look like Call of Duty maps? Yo, somebody let me know.
the prospectors of this world had very little idea just how much danger they were actually in, as only a few years later, they would send out one final garbled astropathic broadcast in which the distorted voices of the world's inhabitants could be heard raving about pale figures in the rain and sleek shapes in the clouds. This was the only bit of information that was able to be extracted from the broadcast. There's a voice that could be heard saying, "There is no hope now. I have heard the voice calling. It is calling to me from the storm in the sky and spoke of trespass and blood. And hearing it now, I know the truth." Whatever happened to the prospecting world of Rain and its colonist is a mystery we will probably never get an answer to. Inquisition investigation files. The Murder Room. There is a myth shared across the cosmos by murderers and madmen alike, a whispered tale of a blood-red room that shouldn't exist. Now, although each retelling of the story differs wildly from one another, they all share a common core, repeated with alarming consistency on worlds entire subsectors apart. Outside of this disjointed brotherhood of like-minded sinners, linked together only by their shared lust for violence, the only people who have ever heard these tales repeated in person are perhaps the officers of the Arbites, who have overheard the ravings of the frothing lunatics held within their death cells. Most of these officers dismiss this as nothing more than spooky stories, tales of terror and violence designed to scare people. The Inquisition, however, takes these tales incredibly seriously and believes them to be no mirror dusk dream or feverish imaginings of the damned. The legend speaks of a terrifying and secret place, a room drenched in the blood of countless victims, where 1,000 screams linger and the air is heavy with the scent of acrid copper. It is said the room itself is the coalesced memory of every other room that has ever had blood drench its walls, every home whose safety was shattered by terror in the night, or defiled by murder from within, each and every one leaving a terrifying footprint in reality, all captured forever, remembered in this one red room.
So we just got we got a red room called the murder room. We have a room called the murder room in Warhammer. I'm gonna be honest with you. Now listen, these are stories. These are like mystery stories. So at the end of the day, I mean, we don't, specifically know if these things are true in the lore or whatever. These are stories, but I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. It wouldn't surprise me.
It is a place built from betrayal and malice.
It would not surprise me at all.
Fed by blood and death and furnished by unreasoning slaughter. The only sound heard within its walls is the never-ending echoing of the unheeded pleas of the lost. The most terrifying part of the story is that the murder room is alive, and its eternal hunger for more victims is never satiated.
It's real?
Comes across the murder room is different from person to person.
Oh, hell
no!
no.
Where you are or where you're going. Any door you open might see you set foot in a room that shouldn't be there. A room with red-soaked walls.
Okay, so like, what if you walk in somebody's house, right? You walk in the house, whatever, like, and you're like, oh, yeah, what's up, bro? You dap him up, you hug him, whatever. I'm like, oh, man, I gotta go use the bathroom. He says, oh, yeah, bro, upstairs left and make a da-da-da-da. He said, upstairs left, make a what? He said, oh, yeah, go upstairs, make a left, and make a da-da-da-da. You're like, oh, well, I'll find it. You go upstairs, you make a left, you're like, all right, boom, you make a left, and there's like 5 different doors. You're like, oh, okay, well, you open one door, okay, it's just all black. You close right back up. You open another door, somebody's in there. It's like a random room. And then before you open up this one door, all you see is red under. You just see a red dye under. You look, you're like, okay. You know what, maybe the bathroom got red lights. Man, you open that door, bro. Over. Jehovah. No Twitch. Over. You get snatched in, bro. Man, back rearranged and everything, Paul. Hey, Paul. Pause, Paul.
That reek of gore. To step across that is to step into a realm of blood-soaked insanity. The door slamming behind you, like the lid of a tomb snapping shut. Those who emerge from its confines may look the same, but something in them has irreparably changed. There were stories of lowly scribes who meekly attend to their workstation each and every day. Yet after work is complete, they return to a home filled with bloody trophies they've taken in the night. Other tales speak of loving family men who, despite seeming completely normal, return home from work one night to slaughter all those that wait for them with open arms.
Oh, wow.
There are even tales of psychotic killers who the Arbites have hunted for months, but every time they close in on them, they disappear without a trace, as if they stepped outside of space and time. There are several different theories on what the Red Room actually is. First and foremost, its nature draws direct parallels to Khorne, the god of blood and skulls.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. Out of all of them, like out of all like gods, whatever, and like to have like that red room or whatever, that makes sense that it's Khorne. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Although
That makes sense.
Known as a god that demands battle and war, there are many cults of Khorne that view the Red God as a patron of violent death and murder in all of its forms. These groups are often comprised of butchers and deranged killers that may be working for profit, or simply to satiate their terrifying addiction to the dealing of death for its own sake.
He looks like bro. He looks like an actual crash shot. I'm gonna be honest with you. He looks scary. This man looks like a straight up menace, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Some believe the murder room is just a front for such a group, or maybe something that they have managed to summon from the Imperium, an altar of blood halfway between the warp and reality. Its victims chosen at random or by an incomprehensibly alien selection process. Some say the murder room is a literal passage into hell itself, that no matter how stoic and disciplined a person may think they are, to cross its threshold is to plunge into a sinkhole of murder and become the playthings of the denizens that dwell within this red abyss. Despite wearing the face of a human being, they would be...
That's not a... Hey. Respectfully, that is not a face of a human being, bro. That is not a face of a human... Yo, respectfully, bro. I'm just gonna keep it real with you. That's not a face of a human being. There's no shot.
Or maybe it has nothing to do with demons and gods, as it's known that there are places where the barrier between reality and the warp wears thin. Many of these areas exist for no particular reason, maybe having been formed in an ancient accident, from the aftershocks of a sorceress ritual, or exist as the echoes of an ancient and terrible atrocity that continue to fester like a wound in reality. The emotional energy generated by every act of violence pulses out into the warp, hatred, fear, and grief, rippling forever across the immaterium. Sometimes the ripples of these events can cross over one another. It may just be one or two, or perhaps hundreds, maybe even thousands. The energy generated by ancient acts of violence coalescing together in a fold of tormented space, a frozen moment of horror caught forever in time. Such a terrifying labyrinth would be insanely dangerous to become trapped in, and would be utterly impossible to destroy. The truth of the murder room still remains a mystery, but it's one that the Inquisition takes very seriously. The Emperor's Map.
Okay.
This mystery comes from the novel Horus Rising, which is the first entry in the beloved Horus Heresy series. There is a scene in the story where the Remembrancer known as Mercedes is interviewing Garviel Loken, one of the Space Marines of the Luna Wolves. If you don't know much about the Horus Heresy novel line, the Remembrancers were basically like wartime journalists that were sent to accompany the Space Marine legions during the Great Crusade. They were to document all of their victories, triumphs, and achievements, not just to preserve the history of one of humanity's greatest undertakings for future generations, but also to create fluff pieces to inspire the men and women back on Terra. This was the third interview the two of them had conducted together, and over time, Loken had begun to open...
Hey, I'm gonna just keep it, yo. Again, I don't want to, bring race into this, but I kind of am right now. Yo, this is like the first, like... This is like the first like black girl I've seen in Warhammer, bro. I'm gonna keep it real, and I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, well, Warhammer should have more black. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and do that. That's corny. But like, bro, I'm gonna be, yo, this is like the first ever black woman that I've seen in Warhammer. That's crazy. That head is crazy, that melon, man, that's a coconut right there,
up
bro.
to her more and more. At this
Hey, her head worse than mine, man. My head is just blown up, just man. Her head, oh nah.
point, she had already recorded almost 6 hours of his stories. This included accounts of battles and tactics, descriptions of especially demanding military operations, reflections on the quality of certain types of weapons, celebrations of notable deeds, and the triumphs of him and his comrades. So, needless to say, he had given her an enormous amount of anecdotal facts about the
Dang.
complexities of the Great Crusade. But she needed something more from him, as she needed a spark, something to show a bit of the Space Marines' humanity. She mentions that she had heard that the Space Marines know nothing of what ordinary mortals might describe as fear. He tells her that that is a very curious question, and she asks him how curious the answer was. He says pretty simply the Astartes do not have fear. It was simply unthinkable to them. She asks if it's something that's trained out of them. He tells her not exactly. They're trained for discipline. The capacity for fear was something that was bred out of them. Mercedes isn't super happy with
But like, aren't the Astartes? Aren't they still like human? Right? Weren't they like human? And like now they're like Space Marines and stuff like that. If that's the case, I mean, it's like it had to be taken out of them because like all humans are like. Here's what I'll say. Oh, I mean, or because like babies. I'm about to say because like little babies. Like, for instance, I seen this video where like babies, they don't have like the concept of fear because like they're babies. So at the end of the day, like I think I've seen this video where like babies were like sitting with snakes and stuff. And obviously these snakes were like, they didn't like, do nothing or whatever, but like they were sitting with like snakes and stuff. And like obviously babies don't have the concept of fear. They don't even know that, oh snap, like snake, let me get away, or scared or whatever. But like obviously if you were, if it was me or you, we saw a snake slithering up behind us, I'm gonna be honest with you, bro, all that snake gonna see is my booty and elbows. I'm out of here. But if I'm keeping completely honest with you, bro, like if the Astartes were like, taken from like a young age or whatever, and then they were just trained, just disciplined, I guess that like that whole fear component wouldn't really form in her head. But like I don't know.
this answer. As to her, it kind of diminished the mystique of the Astartes. She believed that to deny fear was the very character of a hero, but there was nothing courageous about being insensible to the emotion. The conversation continues on for a while, touching on a lot of different subjects, but still, she's not getting what she wants. Eventually, she asks if she can be candid, that he had given her an enormous amount of information on the nature of the crusade, of which she was grateful, but she wanted to know about him specifically.
Okay.
How these things made him feel. Loken seems genuinely confused by this. What he felt? Who would be interested in that? She tells him everyone. Humanity was a very sensible race. They cared less for, say, the specific details of the Battle of Ulanor, and were more fascinated by the reports of what it was like to be there. She wants to know about the things he had seen and had felt were bizarre, the stuff that left him speechless, shocked, unnerved even. He smiles and tells her giant hats. Mercedes looks confused, so he tells her of a story of a world they brought into compliance, in which afterward, the population held a great carnival of celebration that lasted for 8 weeks straight. The dancers wore these giant, ridiculous hats.
8 weeks?
And he tells her that it made all of them laugh. Even War Master Horus laughed at that. Mercedes loves this story. It's exactly what she's looking for. She asks him for more stories like this, so he tells her everything that he can think of. They've been talking for hours, and eventually Loken tells her that he has duties he needs to attend to.
Okay.
Mercedes begs him for one more story, and to make it a good one, something that left him awestruck.
Dang,
Loken
how many
thinks
stories she want?
and says that there was one thing. No more than 10 years ago, the Luna Wolves had been accompanied by the Emperor, and they came across a dead world, a planet that had once supported life, but whatever originally lived there had either died out a long time ago
GG's.
or moved on to another world. Whoever they had been, they left behind a honeycomb of subterranean habitats. The Luna Wolves searched them carefully, every last cave and tunnel, and were only able to find one thing of note. It was buried deeper than anything else, in a stone bunker 10 kilometers under the planet's surface. What they found in that chamber left even the Emperor speechless. It was a huge chart, a map, one that was 20 meters across, showing the geophysical relief of an entire planet in extraordinary detail. None of the Marines recognized it, but the Emperor knew what it was immediately.
Uh-oh.
It was Terra. It was a complete and full map of Terra, perfect in every detail.
Wow. Okay. This looks a little familiar. Let's just know. Listen, I'll easily tell you guys where I live. I live a little bit over here. I live over here. But wowzers! I was not expecting him to pull up the. Yo, I mean, listen. We all know that Terra is basically like it's basically like the Earth, and like Warhammer basically. But I was not expecting him to like pull up the actual like map of like us. I'm gonna be honest with you, like, bro pulled up us.
But it was a map of Terra from an age long ago, before the rise of the hive cities or the molestation of war, with coastlines and oceans and mountains of an aspect long since erased or covered over. Loken tells her that there were many unanswerable questions locked away in that forgotten chamber. Who had made the map and why? What business had brought them to Terra so long ago? What caused them to carry the chart halfway across the galaxy and hide it away like their most precious treasure? It was unthinkable. Loken turns to Mercedes and tells her that he cannot feel fear, but if he could, he would have felt it then. He couldn't imagine anything else unsettling his soul quite the way that thing did. Entity unknown.
I mean, that was all right. That wasn't really that terrifying to me. I'm gonna just keep it real with you, but that was all right.
The Silent Ones. The hive planet of Necromunda is a world rife with powerful gangs, but unlike the houses of Goliath, Escher, Vansar, or Orlok, that are built upon vital industries and lord their wealth and power over a substantial population of workers, the delaque House, or the House of Shadows as it is also sometimes known, has no defined industrial role within Necromunda society. If you were so inclined to ask any random hiver what their purpose was, you would receive a bunch of different answers. Now, some believe they are information brokers that deal in secrets, buying and selling this vital commodity to the highest bidder, whereas some believe they are spies that work for some great secret noble house, while others claim they are master saboteurs or even a league of assassins. There may be a little bit of truth to all of these rumors, but no one really knows for sure. But perhaps an even greater mystery still is who exactly they are and where they come from. Considering that very little is known about the House of Shadows, rumors and speculations have run wild within the various drinking holes found throughout Necromunda. Now, some say they are aliens who stole the skin of men and women and walk among the hives, studying our strange society to better learn how to destroy it. Where others believe they are a hive of parasites that burrowed into the necks of corpses and dressed them in cloaks to make them walk around pretending to be people. Regardless of how ridiculous these theories on their origins are, there is another tale that might even be crazier. And the strangest thing of all is it's the one that is most likely to be true. So millions of years ago, the hive world of Necromunda looked nothing like it does today, whereas it is generally known for being a series of megalithic hive cities separated by the arid and hostile ash wastes. If the rumors are to be believed, the planet once was completely dominated by vast and deep oceans filled with aquatic monsters. It is said that some of these creatures were so massive that the lesser species of Necromunda's seas worshipped them as gods. These massive leviathan
There's no way in there's no way in the deepest pits of hell am I worshiping the Loch Ness monster as a god. I'm gonna be honest with you. There's no way.
deities were known as the Silent Ones, and amongst the species that worshipped them were the ancient ancestors of the delaque. At some point, an unknown calamity would occur in Necromunda's ancient history that caused its oceans to slowly begin to drain away. What caused this is up for debate. Maybe it was a cosmic disaster like a comet impact, or the system's sun had begun to heat up. Regardless of why it occurred, a mass extinction event had begun. The species that called Necromunda their home began to quickly die off, one by one. Even the deep ocean gods were at risk of perishing, as everything they had ever known began to crumble around them. The delaque would not allow this to happen. They would not allow themselves and their gods to become extinct.
Why they look like that? Yo, Blink. Why does he, bro? Victor's ass. Why you good? I'm gonna be honest with you. That's actually kind of terrifying. His look is terrifying.
And instead raged with alien fury against the dying of the light. In their attempts to understand what was happening to their world, they would discover that as the ocean sank away, great underground seas were beginning to be created close to the world's core. The delaque would then construct massive cities in these deep earth seas and would guide the Silent Ones here to allow them to slumber within their walls. After this, they returned to Necromunda's dying surface and made their own plans for achieving immortality. After their great work was complete, the delaque did what every other species upon Necromunda would ultimately do. They died. Millions of years would pass, and
I was not expecting that. I'm gonna be honest with you. I was not expecting that. They died. They're dead. I was not expecting that, brother.
The memory of Necromunda's oceans would eventually fade away. Humanity would come to Necromunda, oblivious to the facts that any sentient race had ever set its foot upon its soils. They built great cities and factories that polluted the lands and used up what minuscule bits of water had remained on its surface. Thousands more years would pass, and Necromunda would find itself in the grip of war and strife. The cities burned and its people died. Necromunda's verdant forest and plains were replaced with scorch ash waste and toxic deserts. Even the very atmosphere was poisonous to the few things that could live outside of the hives. And throughout all of this, the ancient sea gods slumbered. Then came the delaque, or at the very least, the men and women who would eventually become the delaque as we know them. It is said that hundreds of years ago, there was a great and terrible plague, but not one of the body. It was a sickness of the mind, a plague that infested people's dreams and would cause the afflicted to begin to wander off out of the safety of it.
Man, I'm taking Red Bull, 5-hour energy. I'm taking, B12. I'm taking it, bro. Every energy like type of thing that I can take, bro, is GG's. Bro, there's no way I'm going to sleep, bro. They're gonna have to put me on anesthesia, bro. Whatever you want to call it. Every night, I don't care if it's 3 bands a night, bro. Put me under anesthesia, bro. Knock me out complete, bro. Freeze my body. There's no way. Look at this man, bro. Like he hasn't gotten any sleep since like 1960.
Stacks propelled deeper down into Necromunda's underhives by alien whispers. When at last, the plague finally released its grip on these people, they found that they were not alone in sickness. Huge groups of them had been led to the exact same place, deep within the underhive. There were hundreds, perhaps even thousands of them, all from different walks of life and different strata of influence. But strangely enough, they all felt a deep kinship with one another, like they were a family, even though they had never met before. Brought together by the dreams of ancient seafaring gods that had traveled across space and time, these people would become the hosts of the ancient alien consciousness of the delaque. Since that day, the House of Shadows numbers have been steadily rising, their strength building, learning as much as they can about this new world they have found themselves in. And when the time is right, they will journey down into those subterranean seas and awaken their ancient gods. But at the end of the day, all of that is just a rumor that couldn't possibly be true.
Told you. Shout out to my boy Major. Oh, bro. Oh, I need some sleep. Oh my God, I told you guys at the beginning of the video that I need some sleep. Oh man, bro. I almost said shout out to my boy Major Kill. Shout out to my boy Weshammer, man. My bad for the disrespect, my brother. Other than, man, comment down below. What do you guys think about this? A lot of these were rumors, like I said. These aren't like really like, you know, true facts or whatever. But at the end of the day, I mean, I'm gonna keep it real with you. That red door one definitely is terrifying. I will say that. The red door one was terrifying. This one right here, I mean, this one was scary, but I wouldn't say it was terrifying. The other ones were all right, but they weren't really terrifying. But the red door one was definitely, that's scary. I'm gonna be honest with you, that's definitely scary, man. Comment down below, man. What do you guys think about it? Also, man, make sure you guys follow my Twitch down below, and see you guys every time out. Peace out.